For a limited time, get your perk posters and t-shirts today at radreddering.com.
No! Contraption!
Hear me.
Yes, I can hear you. Apologies, my lord. I am here.
Calm, faithful Warden, calm. I bring glad news. The world that you seek is near at hand.
Oh, thank you, my lord. Thank you. I've done my best to prepare the way. Please.
Mind your own fucking business.
Where are you now?
Hidden. Trapped. Waiting.
I see. Tell me what I must do.
4 souls in your possession, 4 arriving soon. With the first, you will transform the island. Salvatore DeLuca, Finn O'Leary, Billy Handsome, Al Arlington.
Salvatore, Finn, Billy, Al. Yes, my lord, I know these names.
Their sins shall be their undoing. Their eternal punishment through your sacrifice will ensnare another. His ultimate reckoning.
A trap for another. Forgive my ignorance, Lord, but how will I know what to do?
Sir, it's me, Stanley. We have a situation.
Damn the situation, Ferguson. You handle it. I am not to be disturbed.
Wait. Listen.
I'm real sorry to interrupt your prayers, sir, but there's been a murder up on the roof. It's Al Arlington.
Arlington?
Yes, sir. Part of some kind of botched escape attempt. We got Sal DeLuca and his 2 cronies in custody. Looks like it was them.
I'll be right there.
I'll be right there. My lord, I entreat thee to speak. I have done as you asked. The remaining 3 of the first 4 shall die by electric chair this evening. And soon after I shall join them. It will be glorious in this new realm, Lord. I have no doubt.
See what you made me do?
But I confess, I am afraid. This form is weak and has taken to drink, but I do cling to it still. Please, grant me the strength to...
Grant you the strength? Oh, you poor, pathetic wretch. I will grant you nothing until your death. You know this.
You're coming,
Yes, my lord, of course. My life is part of the disease, and the disease must be purged. I rejoice that that day has come.
But you are a base, disgusting creature that cannot help fearing for its own skin. It is not your fault.
Thank you for saying so, my lord. Truth be told, I long for the miracle that will release me.
That's a good lad. You have been an adequate servant. Therefore, you will continue to serve after the corruption.
Such an honor.
I didn't read the back.
For me.
Are you supposed to chug the whole thing?
Not an honor. A purpose. Your life's sentence. Waiting for Dr. Edward Richtofen to walk into the trap.
The Doctor. I've heard mention of him amongst the Illuminati. What would you have of him?
His blood holds great power. You will harness it all and open the way to the paradise below.
I swear, my lord, it will be done.
And one more thing.
Name it, my lord.
Spare him no pain.
Yes, Richtofen shall suffer. The time has come. The sponge is wet on my crown. The cap screws tightened. The switch in my hand. Oh, I'm going to burn. Oh, the fools. They want justice for the toll I've extracted from this forsaken island.
Sir, there's some men from the Bureau here. I stalled them as long as I could, but they're on their way to your office now. What do you want me to tell them?
Justice! There is no such thing. There's only the will of the Dark One.
Okay. I'll just tell him you're not feeling so well then, yeah?
Do as you wish. Run, hide, beg for absolution, and perhaps he will be merciful, as he has been with me.
Shh. Do not weep, my dear Warden.
My lord, you're here.
Of course, more or less. The threshold awaits, my friend.
Yes. Yes, the threshold. One last flash of light, and the sun shall vanish into the sea.
And the darkness?
The darkness shall spread. Through every fiber of creation it shall spread.
Listen, I told you, he ain't here. He went to see some special doc on the mainland.
Hey, I'm not the one who
You
put
guys
you
are
in
wasting
jail.
your time.
I shall be its instrument.
Oh, come on, guys, cut me a break.
I shall bleed the chosen few.
Better hurry.
The gateway will open, and paradise will fall. Ah!
Yeah. See there? What'd I tell you? Nobody's home. Nothing here.
Hi everybody and welcome to my video breaking down the Shadowman's quotes inside Blood of the Dead. It is awesome to see that after completing the Easter eggs, we actually get rewards. And at first, I thought it was Dr. Monty because we are going to do some kind of bait and switch and trick us up and see what's going on with the storyline. No. It is still what we guessed. The Shadowman was talking to the Warden. But it fills in some very important blanks during those conversations. You can see the relationship he has with the Warden is one of he's an insect serving the greater purpose of the Shadowman and whatever the overlords are. That's something back to Shadows of Evil, if you recall, when you open Pack-a-Punch and the Shadowman tells you your service to the overlords is appreciated.
Your service to the overlords is appreciated. Our complete assimilation of this dimension will now proceed.
Anyway, he tempts our Warden all the way through these radios and has complete and utter dominance and control over him. But in the first radio, we hear the Shadowman is trapped, which makes us believe at this point when he's talking to the Warden, he's already in the summoning key. So this is either post-Revelations, which would be way toward the end of the cycle, or it's after SOE while our characters are on their journey. Now he talks about using the 4 character souls to transform the island. So he uses the original mobsters to transform the island. That explains the whole intro cinematic and how that happens. Some magic apothecon nonsense. He's able to utilize their sinful souls to transform the world. Similar to how it happened in Shadows of Evil, where the Shadowman was able to use their sinful souls of the SOE crew to transform their world. Remember, there's a radio telling how it's your world, just slightly adjust it, and it's probably because of their sins. It's a pocket dimension that's created. Now, I want you to listen to these quotes by the Warden in the Easter egg.
The day has arrived. Thank.
This cannot be. All that we have done.
You belong to me. This is my life sentence. The reason I was born, and the destiny for which I have bled, and tortured, and killed, and died, again and again.
The radios give us greater context to what the Warden's actually talking about, this plan, Armageddon, all this stuff. It's like none of it makes sense until you start to understand that the Shadowman completely corrupts it. So now you're like, hey, it doesn't make sense. Oh, he's serving his god. And he was willing to die over and over again endlessly to fulfill this plan. And the plan was always to trap Edward Richtofen, which makes us wonder, oh no, did we just play right into the Shadowman's hand? The Shadowman's goal was actually to break the cycle the whole time because he always gets rocked in this cycle. He always gets trapped by our Primus crew. He always loses at Revelations. So wait a minute. We have now just helped the Shadowman, the bad guy of BO3, win in BO4, which makes a lot of stuff more interesting. We're supposed to go fight Dr. Monty. We might even beat Dr. Monty in the next map, and then we have to deal with the Shadowman again. We still have 2 antagonists left in our series. And it also begs the question, why reintroduce Samantha, German version, the original Samantha, who's really a puppet that can't control the MPD right now because the Shadowman is in control. Something I will speculate on is potentially maybe Sam and the Ultimus crew gets to fight against the Shadowman and Dr. Monty in some shape, way, or form. That would be really fun to see us having a god on our side for like the first time, or finding out the whole time we were getting perks and drops was because Sam was actually trying to free herself from the Dark Aether. And now that I bring up the Dark Aether, that seems like a wonderful transition to talk about this paradise below that comes up in the radios often. The Shadowman keeps promising a paradise below, and that doesn't normally... Paradise is associated with up, heaven and all that, but not for the Apothecons. Now, if you know about the lore, which is, I mean, good on you if you know this nonsense, but in the last game, they talk about the Keepers and what happened to them. The Keepers are those weird-looking guys that float at the beginning of the SOE Easter egg, and they're chasing you, and then they're on your side after you figure out the Shadowman played you, and then you work with the Keepers to beat the Shadowman inside that Easter egg. Those are the Keepers. The Shadowman is the fully messed up Apothecon version. All the things like the Margwas we fight, those are Apothecons. They are, according to the timeline, cast out of the Keeper's world, Argartha, into the Dark Aether. They experimented with the Dark Aether, and that's what helped twist them into these corrupted versions of the Keepers. It sounds like we opened the gateway to the Dark Aether. So do our characters walk through those portals and end up in the Dark Aether because the Shadowman played them for fools? Do they end up going to the next place, and instead of, you know, what we saw at the end of Revelations where he opened the gateway to Argartha, instead, this time we're going to the Dark Aether, which is basically the opposite. This lets the context of the walls and classified where Argartha will burn makes it a little more interesting. So sadly, I don't have answers for you in this video. I have more questions to pose about the excitement of this season, which is really cool to see an Easter egg like this retroactively put in the game after you complete the Easter egg. Just awesome to see this kind of thought put into it. I hope there's more, and I hope there's more radios. I hope this happens with other Easter eggs, and I hope we get to explore more Easter eggs that months later we're like, wait a minute, that wasn't like that, and because it keeps updating with our progress in the story. Now, there's one last point I want to touch on. At the end of the last radio, they go to check on the Warden when the Bureau shows up to be like, hey, you killed all these inmates, you need to pay for your crimes, and then he disappears. He's nowhere to be found, and even Stanley Ferguson, who's just talking to him, is amazed. Where did the Warden go? This plays into why we hear the tapes inside the original map, Mob of the Dead, talking about the original events that occurred, and we get a new perspective on what's actually going on in these pocket dimensions and how things can just be teleported into these dimensions while the real world is unaffected, and it continues on in its normal storyline. The Warden completely disappeared in the original universe, but the one we experienced, what he did, got teleported into Blood of the Dead. Again, building into his life sentence, all these things he talked about, it will never be over. This is what I was meant to do. The Shadowman groomed this character, the Warden, to be the keeper of this pocket dimension that Richtofen would eventually be trapped in so he could break the cycle using Richtofen's blood. That's why the dark mechanism was made, that's why it's even there, and this is all in hopes of freeing the Shadowman, most likely, and getting to the Dark Aether and causing a lot more crazy badness to occur. I have a lot more to get into and a lot more different videos, but I just want to leave you with this little taste. I don't want to go on for too long. So I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day. Make sure you subscribe for all your Black Ops 4 Zombies news, information, all that stuff. If you're interested in hearing more about the zombie storyline, and I stream 3 times a week if you're interested in that as well. Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. During the week, it's at 4:30 p.m. At Saturday, it's during 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're interested in that stuff, otherwise, have an absolutely terrific, wonderful, fantastic day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye now.